Well, it depends if it's not an issue for them. Then I think, to do what they feel is right for them. I suppose if it's causing them, difficulty, then I think it's time to look at the relationship and see what kind of effect it's having on them. Is it affecting their studies? Because if they're distressed or worried about the relationship, if the relationship isn't going well, maybe then it's actually becoming intrusive into their college life and their college work. Maybe they feel that they're missing out with their college friends, or they can't, go out on, the college nights out. And I think part of the college experience is about being able to socialise and, be part of everything that's going on in college, not just the academic work, because I think it's really important to get a balance. That's the first thing I suppose I'd look at with them is what is the main issue for them? Is it the fact that they've moved away from home, or is it the fact that their accommodation that they're now in, that they're not settling in, maybe they haven't made friends, because that can be crucial really to how they're going to participate in college life, because can that be that feeling of isolation? For some it depends on, maybe at home there was a very strict regime, they had to be in by a certain time, they had, somebody asking them what they did, how their day was, and suddenly, there's that gap. I think it's important to stay in contact with home. I think it's also an opportunity for them to think about, well, this is my life, and I have opportunity to do things that I'd like to do, but to be sensible about it, and sort of to seek out friends who are good supports is very important, and so they have somebody to talk to. If they feel it's becoming a real issue for them and they're feeling very lonely or very homesick, to come and talk to somebody, because this is what we do in the counselling service. We do provide support. And sometimes just talking something out with somebody can make all the difference. It does, most certainly. I mean, I've seen students who would be experiencing that. They find they just don't get on with their housemates. And I think it is really important to have a safe environment and a comfortable environment, particularly when you leave. College can be quite demanding, and they have projects to do and things to do at home, and if they don't feel comfortable there, I think that can have a big impact. So I would say to them, that they need, if they find those type of issues, to look at what are their choices, and again, coming and talking to somebody can direct them in that. The college here does have accommodation that they can maybe look at, and that would be quite student friendly. But again, it is about who they're sharing with. Maybe if they can share with friends. But sometimes, as we all know, you know yourself, you go on holidays with friends, you find, living for me is very different to knowing me and socialising. So I think it is about looking at what will suit them, being careful about the accommodation they choose if they're going into a house that they don't know. Try and find out as much as they can about the people and their shared interests, and what are the general rules of the house. Of course, as we all know, there's always unspoken rules that aren't as obvious. But, how do they feel when they go actually sit in that house or walk into that house? What's the kind of atmosphere? Because they usually get a good sense of that. I would see that quite frequently, and I think a lot of the courses now are putting on areas of professional development within their courses where students have to get up and present to their class members and maybe other academics, and it can be very trying and difficult for them. One way of dealing with it is to rehearse at home, particularly looking maybe in front of a mirror, visualising themselves doing the presentation in an area where they feel comfortable in. Like if they practice at home, maybe in their own bedroom or in the sitting room or to their friends or whatever, that can actually give them the confidence, because when they're standing up in the classroom and doing the presentation or wherever they have to do it, if they can see themselves in the place where they've practiced, being calm, delivering it, confidently, then that does definitely help them to think. The other important thing is to breathe. Breathing is very, very important and can really stop them being anxious and nervous. And that's one of the other techniques we can teach them, is how to breathe. Definitely come and talk to somebody. And quite often when people are feeling down and depressed, they don't always want to tell their friends. They don't always want to tell their a family at home because maybe they were worried, or maybe there's something that they don't feel they can talk about at home, or maybe to their friends, and that's where counselling can really, really be beneficial to you know, a person feeling like that, because you know, a problem shared, you know, makes a big difference really. And I mean, if they come here to the counselling, it is non-judgmental. There isn't a possibility to just look at it, just see what's going on, maybe see other ways and options, because quite often when you're in that state, you're not able to see, well, other ways of dealing with it, or the issue can just seem to be bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. The more you get down, the more you get worried about it. And so talking about it can make a huge difference. And there's lots of strategies and ways of dealing with the problems, and you know, that we can actually help them with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it can be very useful. I see it all the time, year on, you know, where students feel that they're not up to speed with their work. There may be many reasons for that. Maybe something's happened to them. Maybe they were ill, maybe there was somebody ill at home, maybe there was some issue, you know, maybe they didn't have financial stability. Any of those things can, you know, block their opportunity to be getting engaged in college. Maybe they were doing a part-time job, you know, where they had to do extra hours. There's all sorts of reasons why. The important thing is come and talk to somebody about it, because again, like that, like we have lots of information on study skills, you know, dealing with tests under stress, all of those kind of things. There's lots of tips and advice we can give them, lots of ways of dealing with college work, and to come and talk to the counsellors, because we can support them and guide them, and again we can maybe advise them on which way is best to approach again, and maybe see the academic lectures that we're dealing with.